In the days of the American Wild West, you didn't leave home without a gun. Both the sheriffs and outlaws carried guns and ammunition. It was important to have your gun easily accessible. Wearing a holster around the waist puts a gun in the perfect position for a quick draw. These handcrafted leather belts and holsters are modeled after those made in the late 1800s. They're made for movies, cowboy shooting competitions, and historical reenactments. A craftsman starts by using a press and a series of dies to cut out the holster and belt components. This is vegetable tanned leather, the only type of leather that's flexible enough to carve or stamp. He lays a paper template over one end of the holster piece and marks tiny dots with an awl. He connects the dots with the straight line using a small knife. He punches a hole at each dot. The lines and holes form two wide loops. Next, he carves a groove for stitches along what will be the main seam of the holster body. He sprays water onto the leather to soften it. He makes decorative lines with the compass. Then he imprints a design into the leather by striking a stamp with a mallet. Because the leather is moist, it compresses easily, assuming the shape of the stamp. These stamps are modern-day copies of the ones used in the late 19th century. A rosette is a common motif of that era. He uses one tool for the outline, one for the petals, and another for the center of the flower. Then he adds details with the small chisel-edged knife and stamps on his maker's mark. He shaves any sharp corners and smoothly finishes the edge. The holster piece is now cut, embellished, and finished. The next step is to sew it. He marks the stitch holes across the bottom where he will later sew the toe plug. Then he pierces the holes with an awl. He soaks some sheep's wool in neat's foot oil and rubs it in. This nourishes and conditions the leather, preserving the impressions and enhancing the color. Once the oil is soaked in, he applies a smoothing solution onto the edges and rubs them with a piece of canvas. Now the sewing can begin. He folds one end of the holster piece to form a pouch. Then he sews inside the groove he cut for the main seam. Stitches sunken in a groove are far stronger than surface stitches. When he completes the seam, he burns the end of the polyester thread with a lighter. Then he sews on the toe plug and inserts the pouch into the double loops at the other end of the piece. Next, he works on the belt. After piercing stitch holes in the main belt strip, he sews on a thinner, flexible strip, bending it into loops to hold ammo. He glues on a leather lining to make the belt more durable. Then he sews on the billets. They are the pieces that go on each end of the main belt strip. One billet has the buckle, and the other has the adjustment holes. After applying some decorative nickel studs known as spots, he threads the belt through the holster. And inserts the ammo. This double-loop holster is a copy of an 1880s holster designed to hold a single-action army pistol. The craftsman can make several different authentic styles from this era, customizing the holster to carry a weapon of any size or shape.